Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambeau channel. I've been saying for quite some time that the SEC's allegations against Ripple in large part are hypocritical and they're illogical, makes you question what the hell the motivating factors possibly could be. Let's go ahead and add to the pile the fact that they did not file for any sort of injunction that would prevent Ripple from continuing to sell XRP. Well, given that this is one of the, actually probably at this point, the most important case the SEC has ever brought against any company having anything to do with blockchain and crypto, why no injunction? For smaller infractions, they filed injunction. So what's actually functionally going on here? And so I think that even though in some ways they actually have overcharged, in particular going after Chris Larsen, co-founder of Ripple, and Brad Garlinghouse, Ripple CEO, to me that seems like notable overcharging. Pretty much every lawyer I follow, even if they are not favorable to Ripple and XRP, even they seem to think that that was a bit much. But it's still, you kind of wonder here, they must have thought that they couldn't get away with this specifically, or else they would have, because they wanted to apply as much heat against Ripple from the beginning, right? Because initially they were trying to force them into a settlement that wouldn't be favorable to them. So what's going on here? Well, I've got some thoughts to share with you from pro XRP attorney John Deaton on that topic, along with a few other tweets that I think you'll find interesting having to do with SEC versus Ripple that are brand new stuff here. And then there was this article from Decrypt. Bitcoin's still not a security, but regulation is coming, ex-SEC chairman. So indeed, the former SEC chair, Asshat Clayton, he was on the television recently saying some stuff that really grinded my gears up a bit. And I'll explain why. Because what was coming out of his mouth, it's one particular piece was very noticeable to me and disgusting. Just one particular piece in particular, because it's completely opposite from what I saw in a video from him. And I'm not sure what the date on it was. It may have been a year and a half ago. Who knows? But it was just like the complete opposite of what he stated, because he likes to speak tough and kind of be a prick. And then, he kind of changes his... I'll explain in a minute, but I do want to be clear at the outset, I don't have a legal or financial background of any kind. I am not offering legal or financial advice, and you should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast, so completely unprofessional. I mean, I am Moon Lambeau after all, so think about that. So I like making YouTube videos as a hobby about Ripple and XRP and crypto stuff, but that is all that's going on here, just to be super transparent. So John Deaton, rock star within the XRP community. He's the attorney that's been bringing the fire to the SEC. He's seeking to intervene in the SEC versus Ripple case. We'll see soon enough whether or not that ends up being successful, and I sure as hell hope so. I think John Deaton's in the right for doing that. And he's also in the process of filing a class action lawsuit against the SEC on behalf of XRP holders for having devastated XRP holders. Obviously, when the SEC filed suit against Ripple, the price of XRP plummeted, harming many, many people. And so fine to this point now we know, had you held, you would have been just fine because the price is above where it was when that happened. But people didn't know that. And understandably, they did panic sell because there was something to panic about. And so the SEC, in my humble opinion, is to blame for all this. But go ahead and follow John on Twitter if you've not yet. It's his first name, John, middle initial the letter E, last name Deaton, Deaton, and then the number 1. You will not regret following this good sir. And he wrote the following. I'm reading the SEC versus Telegram case more closely. So that'd be a separate crypto situation Telegram. I'm sure many of you have at least heard of it, but just to make sure. Anyway, the SEC sought a preliminary injunction and won to prevent current sales of grams. So that'd be the actual token. Now, in order to win a preliminary injunction, the SEC must make a, quote, substantial showing of a likelihood of success as to a current violation, end quote. Well, that's interesting, isn't it? And then John Deaton wrote the following. In the SEC versus Ripple case, the SEC does not seek a preliminary injunction to stop current sales of XRP by Ripple. Why? Because it can't make a substantial showing of a likelihood of success as to a current violation. The mere filing of the complaint was a weapon. And so this is in line with what I've been saying for some time, and this is just another thing to look at to make this case that the SEC I think they have to know that their position is not as strong as they're huffing and puffing to try and make you believe it is. Not that they won't get a technical legal victory. Maybe Ripple has to pay a fine. Maybe there's a settlement that in many ways looks favorable to the SEC. But look, Ripple's not going to settle unless it's going to be good for them as well. And so, like I've been saying, even if the SEC legally wins, so that would, and I'd call it fine, that's a technical legal win for the SEC if that happens, as long as Ripple can continue to sell XRP as a funding mechanism, and as long as XRP can be traded in the United States on exchanges, I still consider that a bigger win for Ripple. Even if not legally, I still consider that to be the bigger win. And to me, that's still what looks likely. And so the SEC, they're walking a fine line in some cases, overcharging in others, and it's just interesting to see that. So even they don't think that they could have proven this, that it's substantially likely that they'd win the case. And that's important, I think, because if they had gone and they filed this injunction, they would have gotten bitch slapped down right out the gate, and that wouldn't have been a good look for them. So in that case, they were being a little bit more careful. I guess they felt a bit more confident in going after Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larson, even though they're still not filing any fraud charges against them or Ripple the company. Worth pointing out. John Deaton then wrote this. And I should mention, just to make sure that you guys know what I'm talking about here, Hester Peirce is an SEC commissioner. She's one of 5 individuals that got to vote on whether or not to file suit against Ripple, the company. And we don't know how each individual SEC commissioner voted. We will end up finding out, but we won't know until after this lawsuit is complete. So Hester Peirce, again, SEC commissioner, she did have a say in whether or not this suit went forward. I don't know for sure how she voted. There's no way I could. But the way she talks and views securities, cryptos as securities or not securities, the way she's talking, I admit I would be surprised if she voted in favor of going after Ripple, but we don't know. And then Thinking Crypto is a YouTube channel which is run by a guy named Tony. Very pro XRP, but it's not an XRP-centric channel. But anyway, so Hester Peirce, this is from John Deaton now. Hester Peirce, actually, I believe it's pronounced Peirce. Hester Peirce said on Thinking Crypto that she hopes the SEC will move away from viewing the token as a security. And then John wrote, that's only been the law for 75 years. The Supreme Court didn't say the orange was the security. The security was how the groves were marketed and sold. And then wrote, that's correct, and coupled with a service contract that W.J. Howie & Co. would do all the work. And so he's talking about the Howie case that's been around for, well, when was, I think it was 1946. I always forget the date. I believe it's 1946 is when that went down. That case has been what's guided the SEC in determining what is and isn't an investment contract, a security. And so in that case, it had to do with orange groves, and was there some sort of contract by people buying in, that it wasn't just the land, that there was some sort of promise for an increase in value thanks to the orange groves on the land being maintained. And so the question there then was, a big part of it, is the orange a security? Was the orange a security? Well, no, of course not. And so that actually has been the law for some time. It's weird. It's just like the SEC doesn't want to apply it to crypto in such a way. It's kind of bizarre, admittedly, here. And then John Deaton also wrote, a digital asset is a product and or a commodity. Anything including Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, gold, etc. can be sold as a security. Yes, and to be clear, in case you were unaware, yes, even gold can, as a precious metal, can be sold as a security. It's not, in the United States anyway, it's not about whether the asset itself, just by its natural attributes, is a security or is not. In this case, it's about how was it sold. Was there a promise by a common enterprise, and there are other things to consider, but a promise by a common enterprise of making the gold worth more, right? And so the Telegram case, this is John now, the Telegram case even proves this point. The judge said that the security wasn't the gram, but the scheme in how the gram was packaged and sold. And then John Deaton also wrote, he kind of fleshed it out in a separate tweet here now, you don't have to be a lawyer to fully grasp the central issue at hand in SEC versus XRP. Judge Castell said in Telegram, quote, the security was neither the gram purchase agreement nor the gram, but the entire scheme. And so he highlights there, nor the gram, meaning that the gram, the token itself, of course, was not the security. And so then John writes, the SEC refuses to make this clear. Why? Well, I don't know for sure, but it does make you want to speculate. Maybe it really is just that they just want to sue everybody. It could be a power grab. It could be a money grab. It could be both. It'd be pure speculation, but if it's not that, then what the hell? Because they're sure as hell not providing sufficient regulatory clarity. And then you get to this piece from Decrypt. This is the one where they cover Jay Clayton, the asshat, being interviewed on television. What was the channel again? Maybe it doesn't even freaking matter. Squawk. Oh, yeah, CNBC. Okay. And so then there's this article from Decrypt. Bitcoin's still not a security, but regulation is coming. Ex-SEC chairman. Interesting stuff here. Check this out. I got a few things to say on this because what he said, it definitely burnt my biscuits, my friends. Bitcoin is not a security, but that doesn't mean that it won't be regulated. Former U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission Chairman Jay Clayton said today. Clayton, who now advises One River Asset Management on cryptocurrency, told CNBC that Bitcoin was not a security long before he joined the SEC. But regulation of the asset will still inevitably come, he added. Bitcoin not being a security does not mean that it should not be regulated. In fact, where digital assets land at the end of the day, which is very much a wide-ranging question, will be driven in part by regulation, both domestic and international. And I expect, and I'm speaking as a citizen now, that regulation will come in this area both directly and indirectly, whether it's through how these are held by banks, security counts, taxation, and the like. And you know why that, after hearing him say that, my biscuits officially became immediately burnt? I tell you why. Because just the day before that, I watched a video clip, and I can't remember when it was from. It may have been a good year and a half or so ago, but he was SEC chair at the time. But this asshat, he was asked about how there were complaints from many entrepreneurs in the blockchain space in the United States saying, hey, look, there's just not sufficient regulatory clarity. And look, many are companies that are innovators. They're moving overseas. We don't know what we can do, this and that. And I'm paraphrasing, but that's effectively what he was asked on stage in front of a crowd. I don't know what the event was. I don't remember. And his answer was, and he said this, he was so flippant about it. It was offensive. He just said, he said, you know what? Let him go. Because the question, again, like clearly the uncertainty around all of this was resulting in people, business innovators, all that heading overseas. And he said, let him go. And then he just defended his position that, look, we've been regulating so and so, and I'm paraphrasing at this point, in such a way for X amount of time, and it works, blah, blah, blah. You've heard him say this crap before, but he didn't even care. He didn't even care that the innovation was going out there. He didn't care that he was crushing business in the United States. He just said, just let them go. Absolutely, just let them go. And now what do we see here? He's speaking out of the other side of his mouth. Oh no, this all needs to be regulated. And there's an acknowledgement here that there is not sufficient regulation around crypto. So why, when he was SEC chair, did he think it was reasonable to have the position that, oh yeah, well, these United States companies, if they just want to be a bunch of punk asses, yeah, just let them go. That's effectively what his stance was. I do not care for this. It doesn't make sense. Like, none of this actually makes sense. It's like he had an emotional response. That's what he said. He looked, and you should have seen his body language too. My gosh, when that question was getting asked, like he was shifting around. He's like, ooh, I can't wait till I get to speak. Just give me 5 more seconds. I get to talk finally. Ooh, you could just see it in the body language. And then that's what he said, and he was flippant about it. And now, I guess he's had, a good bit of time to simmer down now that he's no longer SEC chair. And now he thinks that there should be sufficient clarity surrounding everything, including Bitcoin. Thanks for nothing, Jay. I'll wrap up there. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.